If you're a coffee drinker, you might be surprised to learn that your favorite morning cup of joe contains a chemical that's been linked to cancer, acrylamide. But don't panic just yet. Some studies say it causes cancers, while others argue that it's harmless for humans. So which is it? That's what we're going to explore in today's video. Hi, I'm Dr. B. I'm a medical doctor, and I like to make educational videos on topics I find fascinating. So let's start with the basics. Have you ever heard of acrylamide? Well, acrylamide is a chemical compound that's formed when certain foods are cooked at high temperatures. And this can be seen in baking, or frying, or roasting, and roasting coffee beans. Formation of acrylamide happens when you cook food at really high temperatures, usually over 120 degrees Celsius. And again, acrylamide is found in coffee, bread, cereals, potato chips, and even some baby foods. And acrylamide has been linked to cancer in animal studies. This has raised big alarms about safety for human consumption. But as it turns out, the reality is a little bit more complicated. In fact, the whole story is a perfect example of why it's important to evaluate the complete picture rather than just one part of it, or in this case, one molecule in isolation. So here's where things get interesting. One of the main sources of dietary acrylamide is coffee. And again, acrylamide is formed in coffee during the roasting process. This involves where the green coffee beans are heated to a very high temperature, and what's known as the Maillard reaction occurs. This occurs between amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, and sugars that are present in coffee beans. This reaction leads to the formation of acrylamide, as well as multiple other compounds. This same Maillard reaction causes browning and caramelization in other foods. Think toasted marshmallows. So the amount of acrylamide formed in coffee depends on a number of different factors. This includes the degree of roasting, the type of beans, the brewing method, and even storage conditions. On average, darker roasted coffee beans typically contain lower levels of acrylamide compared to lighter roasted beans. Storing coffee beans for extended time periods also increases the acrylamide content. And there are multiple lists online, if you look, that will show you which coffees have higher or lower levels of acrylamide. Now, the concern with acrylamide is that, again, it's been shown to be carcinogenic in animal studies. And carcinogenic means it causes cancer. And it causes cancer in certain animals when given in high doses over a prolonged period of time. But here's the catch. The types of cancer seen from acrylamide in animal studies are very specific to species being tested, meaning that the cancers are produced only in specific breeds of rats and mice, not all rats and mice, and it requires acrylamide doses more than 100 times higher than those estimated in human diets. And further evidence is that individuals exposed to acrylamide in their jobs, this can occur in certain factories where paper, dye, and plastics are produced. The exposure in those jobs to acrylamide for some individuals is nearly 10 times higher than dietary exposure. None of the research indicates that this exposure, which is very, very high, increases any tumors in humans. And in fact, the opposite has been found in human studies. There's no significant link between dietary acrylamide exposure and cancer in humans. This is a crucial point. So the human data would suggest acrylamide doesn't hurt humans, and research evidence in humans show the consumption of coffee, which again is a major source of dietary acrylamide, decreases the incidence of cancer and increases lifespan and health span in humans. So what's going on here? How can a food that contains a known carcinogen or cancer-causing molecule actually be also beneficial for our health? Well, the answer probably lies in the complex matrix of compounds that make up coffee. Because coffee doesn't just contain acrylamide, it also contains various beneficial compounds. These include caffeine, multiple antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and diterpenes. All of these are known to have protective effects against cancer and a number of other diseases. So while acrylamide is present in coffee, it's just one of many components, and the others may have health-promoting properties. There is significant human research evidence that coffee is actually highly protective against liver cancer and most liver diseases. The American Cancer Society lists in their guidelines that coffee, 3 to 5 cups a day, actually reduces the risk of cancers including skin cancer, mouth cancer, throat cancer, and likely also reduces the risk of liver and endometrial cancer, which is a female type cancer in the uterus. But the most striking finding associated with this cancer prevention is that coffee is thought to increase lifespan and actually help slow aging. And this benefit appears to be present not in just one group, but in Europe, in America, in Asia, and true across multiple ethnicities and with multiple different types of coffee. And finally, the research evidence shows that the consumption of coffee also appears to have significant protective effects in several non-cancer diseases, especially in neurodegenerative diseases, including Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and depression, and even suicide risk. All of these entities where the role of anti-inflammatory and antioxidant mediators are well known. So the next time you hear about the fears of coffee and acrylamide and cancer, maybe don't worry so much and feel free to enjoy your morning cup of coffee. In moderation, of course. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this one, try this on gut-brain connection or this one on schizophrenia. And please don't forget to hit subscribe.